Hey everybody, it is Ryan and Holly Shields here, back again for another episode of We Suck at Adulting. Your favorite sucky adults are here to give you the preview of Wrestlemania. Now, this is really important. If you are a casual fan, I know there are some people out there who are listening right now, and they're like, I don't like wrestling. Why are you talking about wrestling? We love wrestling.
Sure do.
Sure do. There's her catchphrase yet again.
I didn't even mean to that time.
Yeah, sure do. But yes, wrestling is a big part of our lives. We love wrestling. It harkens me back to a time when I was younger. And I know many people listening, you probably watched wrestling at some point, especially if you're a millennial, because of what was called the Attitude Era. And it just so happens that this WrestleMania has a nice throwback to the Attitude Era, the Monday Night Wars in the main event. So we'll talk about that coming up. We're excited. It's WrestleMania 33. There's a whole weekend of events. Last night we watched the Hall of Fame. Tonight we'll be watching NXT Takeover. And then, of course, tomorrow, WrestleMania. But if you are just a casual fan, I encourage you, stick with us, listen, because I'm going to give you all the play-by-play that led to WrestleMania, a casual fan's guide to WrestleMania, so that if you go to a WrestleMania party, maybe you haven't watched WrestleMania or wrestling in a long time, you can catch up and know everything you need to know for the biggest wrestling pay-per-view of the year. It's a holiday, isn't it, Holly?
It's our Super Bowl.
It is our Super Bowl. We just saw the set that they have for WrestleMania. It looks great.
I'm so excited about it.
So, yeah, we're really hyped, and we hope you get on the hype train like Mojo Rawley. We don't get hyped. We stay hyped for WrestleMania. So here we go on today's special edition of We Suck at Adulting, the casual fan's guide to WrestleMania. All right, everybody, we are back. We hope you enjoyed that classic WrestleMania theme song. I still have visions in my head of the Big Boss Man and Bret Hart singing WrestleMania, getting ready for WrestleMania. So we are super excited about WrestleMania. Honey, are you excited?
I'm more than excited.
You're more than excited?
Yeah.
Well, just to get us going, because as we said in the intro, this is a holiday in the Shields household. It's a big deal. Honey, I have to ask you a question, though. What was the first WrestleMania you watched?
Oh,
was it with me?
I think so.
So that would have been like 25. I know I made you watch WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. I know I made you watch that.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that one?
No, I don't. I'm kind of bummed I don't remember that now.
Well, because to catch everybody up, and if you didn't listen to our first episode way back in the day now, you were a wrestling fan as a kid, but you guys were sort of WCW.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I have two brothers, and it was mostly my older brother and I that we would, like my aunt would watch us, and we would, watch wrestling. So it was mostly because my brother I got into wrestling, and it was kind of one of those things that over the years, he's like, nah, I don't like that anymore. But I do. And when I was in high school, I dated somebody that was into, wrestling and actually went some places and wrestled in kind of like a small time sort of thing.
I'm hopeful because he is our neighbor now. He's a friend of ours, even though you guys dated in high school, which is weird, but
it's not that weird
thing now. He actually gave us a nice review for our review contest, so big ups to him.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we're hoping he'll come over because he was what I would call a lapsed fan. When I was talking to him, I said, do you celebrate the high holy days of WrestleMania? And he said, yeah, he probably would. So I'm hoping to get him over here because between the three of us, I consider myself, I am the hardcore fan. I'm on the message boards. I pay for the insider info. You, I consider a slightly more casual fan.
Yeah, I'm a casual fan. I have my favorites, but I'm not going to pay attention to the ones that I don't like.
Yeah, so you are mostly a Raw watcher, and even that is sometimes every couple weeks or something.
Yeah, it's more like when I get the time to do it, it's not like, I have to watch it every single week.
Which is obviously how I feel about it. And then Andy, hopefully, who maybe will be here Sunday, we can catch some clips of him. I'd call him maybe the lapsed fan, where I don't even know if he knows what's going on. He'll have to elaborate. But that is sort of why we wanted to do today a casual fan's guide to WrestleMania. Catch everybody up so you can pretend you're knowledgeable about WrestleMania going in to WrestleMania 33 in Orlando, Florida. So what I wanted to ask you, though, you've been watching WrestleMania at least in some capacity for the last 8 or so years because we've been together.
Yeah.
And certainly you've watched a lot of WWE Network because of me. What would be your favorite WrestleMania moment? When you think of getting hyped for WrestleMania, what gets you hyped?
Oh, goodness. There's so many to choose from. I'm not really sure what my favorite moment would really be, but there are definitely some memorable ones for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the most memorable matches was probably the last Triple H Undertaker match.
The Triple H on the end of an era match, I believe they called it. I
Yes.
believe that one was in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah, it's just because it went for so long, and it toyed with your emotions.
You're talking about the one where Shawn Michaels was the referee, right?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a great moment in that where Shawn Michaels super kicks the Undertaker, and he tries to give Triple H the pin, and the Undertaker kicks out. And Shawn Michaels has some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. He crumples into the corner like he's seen a ghost, which is what everyone's supposed to do with the Undertaker. That's a great match.
Right. It was, and that was one of the most memorable matches for me, just because it went for so long, and you kept thinking, well, this is it. This has got to be over.
Yeah.
This has got to be what it is.
Yeah.
And I really thought that was the year that the Undertaker was going to lose.
You thought.
I thought it was.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. I was very wrong.
Because I think, when I think of WrestleMania moments for you, can we talk about the end of the streak at WrestleMania 30?
Oh, that was so heartbreaking. I'm still not over that.
Yeah, we actually, because I put it on the other day just to get into WrestleMania spirit. I was sort of going through old WrestleManias, and it still hurt you to watch.
It was one of those things where, you're a kid and you're watching through your fingers,
Right.
and you're so scared to watch. But obviously, I know it happens.
Right.
I mean, you want to watch it, but you don't want to watch it.
And that actual night, I remember that actual night when Undertaker's streak ended because you were still working thirds.
Yeah, I was working overnight, and I was getting ready for work. And I remember you just yelling.
Well, because you actually walked away because in your mind, the match, for those of you, once again, uninitiated, uninformed, if you haven't seen it, Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, early in the match, Undertaker suffers a concussion. And so as far as Undertaker's best matches, it's not one of them. It's a little sluggish. It's not a great match in the ring, but the story it tells ends up being historic. So you were watching the match, you were kind of disinterested, you were going to get ready for work and stuff like that. And yes, at some point you just heard this gasp come from the living room. And I remember you came and you were like, what? Because you thought I fell over in my chair or something.
Yeah, I thought something had happened to you.
And I looked you in the eye and I said, Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. And I think you stood there with your mouth open for 5 minutes being like, nuh-uh.
I didn't believe you at first.
Yeah,
I didn't believe you because I just had... I mean, the streak is so built up, and everybody's... Because what was it, 21-1?
Yeah, 21-1.
21-1 when he lost. He went to WrestleMania 21 times, beat his opponent 21 times.
They finally ended it.
And they finally ended it. I'm not kidding when I tell you that everybody's mind exploded when this happened.
Yeah, there is the streak guy, this guy with glasses, just mouth open.
Oh, I remember people our friends on Facebook updating that as their profile picture.
It was the craziest thing.
It was. I still, for me, I am not over that moment.
Yeah. So for me, I've literally watched every WrestleMania 1 through 32. I've seen them all. And so there's a lot of iconic moments for me. Hulk Hogan slamming Andre.
Everybody knows that one.
Everyone knows that one. The 93,000 in the Silverdome. And if you hear Hulk Hogan tell it, it's 99,000 and Andre weighed 800 pounds and he died the next week. None of that's true, but Hulk Hogan's a worker. So that's a big one. Ultimate Warrior beating Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 6. But those ones were sort of before I really was... aware, and certainly, I was too young to sort of catch the whole thing of what was going on. So for me, my big WrestleMania moments start at 10. WrestleMania 10, I remember, was one of the first times I watched WrestleMania live. They used to do it during the day too. It used to start at 4 in the afternoon.
That's crazy to think now.
Because I remember sun shining and being there with my friend. I don't know if he'll ever listen to this, but his name's Matt Ritzman. And I think we went to his grandparents' house because none of us had a cable box, but his grandpa did or something like that. We ordered it was either a Bigfoot pizza, which I think was a Pizza Hut thing, or a Marco's Pizza big square shooter, but one of those old big feed 20 people pizzas. And we watched WrestleMania 10. And WrestleMania 10, I am a huge Shawn Michaels fan, and I think that was the moment that solidified that. That was a ladder match with him and Razor Ramon. It was they used to tout it as the first ladder match. It wasn't actually the first ladder match, but it was the first really high-profile one in WWF at the time. And that was just such a great moment for me. And I really loved WrestleMania 10. A couple years later, Shawn Michaels won the title at WrestleMania 12. The boyhood dream has come true. So those are big ones for me. And I remember being a teenager and watching WrestleMania 15, with 15 or 20 guys getting together, everyone chipping in money to go watch WrestleMania 15 in the middle of the Austin rise and the Attitude Era.
Oh, I love those years, though.
Yeah. Oh,
Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's still one of my favorites.
You know what's sad about that, though? If you go back and watch it, it's not a really good WrestleMania, but Austin was so huge that it didn't matter. Like, everyone was so in love with wrestling at the time that you could have put anything out there and we'd have gone nuts. And that's really what it was, because everything on that until The Rock and Austin I don't think is very good. I'd have to go back and check all the matches, but it didn't matter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, those characters are so over the top.
Yeah.
If you watch anything with The Rock, he came back a few years ago, and it was The Rock and John Cena.
Yeah.
And, he's still such a huge character when he comes back.
He can say whatever he wants. He got a Fruity Pebbles chant over, for crying out loud.
He did. It was
anything
fantastic.
The Rock says is kind of gold. So, yeah, those characters were awesome.
He's the most electrifying man.
In sports entertainment. In all of entertainment, as he says now.
Yeah.
I know I'm giving a complete history of WrestleMania, but WrestleMania X7 is, in my opinion, the best WrestleMania there was. It was right at the end. WCW had just been purchased by WWF, and they had WrestleMania, and it was a lot of fun, and it had a classic Stone Cold and The Rock match again. And then for me, there's sort of a lull until really about WrestleMania 25 for me to think of iconic moments. And that's Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, which might be my favorite match of all time. But as I said, I'm a really big Shawn Michaels fan.
Right.
Right. So.
Well, I've got a moment, too, that it's more shock factor for me. Those big moments are shock factor moments. And it seems weird now because we all know Brie Bella and
Daniel Bryan.
Daniel Bryan. I mean, they're married, gonna have a baby, all that sort of thing. But I remember when it was Daniel Bryan and AJ Lee.
Oh, the 8-second match or whatever?
8-second match where he won the title.
Was that 24? No, where Sheamus won the title.
Was it Sheamus?
Yeah, it was Sheamus. Daniel Bryan went to kiss AJ Lee, and Sheamus kicked him in the face.
That's what it was. Yeah,
it was 8 seconds.
I just remember that it was such a short match. I was like, that's it? Really? And then I think she turned on him right after that.
Was that WrestleMania 27? I'm trying to remember which one that was.
It was definitely WrestleMania, whatever it was, because I'm sitting there like, really?
Well,
Are you kidding?
18-second match. I'm looking it up right now. It was 28. I was way off. I said 24 originally. I was strongly off. But at WrestleMania 27, they actually had a match that got cut. They ended up being a dark match, I guess, or they did it the next night. And so they were going to do it again. So people actually got kind of hyped about Daniel Bryan and Sheamus then. Yeah, 18 seconds. But to be fair, I think Daniel Bryan will even say to this day, that match made his career. Because
really put him
chanted
over.
For him. Everyone was so disappointed to not see him work that the next night on Raw, John Cena came out, and that's when the Yes chant became a really big
movement.
thing. Yeah, the Yes movement, which a couple years later would kick off. So 25 is a big moment for me. The Rock and John Cena at 27 and 28 is good. But then for me, those are nice, but the next big moment is Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30. You just had the streak end. You needed a happy ending, and Daniel Bryan coming out and winning the championship at the end of the night, which was really cool. That was a complete, that was a fan takeover. He was not supposed to be a part of that, but you just couldn't keep him down.
No, because that was one of those things where I think it was Triple H and Stephanie were just sort of starting to take over.
Yeah.
And Daniel Bryan, he was like the hero that everybody wanted. And so when he won, it was kind of like the WWE Universe had won.
Oh, you're using the catchphrases, the WWE Universe. But yes, the fans won.
It's true, though. The fans had won. Yeah. It wasn't this, corporate win. It was,
and they need
fan
more.
Favorite one.
They need more of that. They really do.
I think so, too. I think they've very much gotten sort of back to the Stephanie and Triple H sort of corporate thing.
Yeah.
and now they've tied Mick Foley into it.
Somebody needs to beat him.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I really miss Daniel Bryan for, is because it didn't matter what Stephanie and Triple H did. Didn't matter. Daniel Bryan always did the right thing.
Yeah. Well, he still is. He's just doing it on SmackDown as a commissioner or whatever.
I know. I'm just sad that he can't wrestle anymore, because
Yeah,
he was such a great wrestler.
He is too. But that was like the start of the network era, and they had 2 really good WrestleManias. And then I didn't think last year's was that great, to be honest. That one was main evented by Triple H and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
They're having a terrible time getting Roman Reigns to the top. But anyway, that catches us all the way up to this weekend. So I said I'm going to make this a casual fans guide. The first thing I want to talk about, though, is we watched the Hall of Fame last night.
We did.
What did you think of the Hall of Fame?
You know, I teared up a bit. I'm not even going to lie about it, because, as I was saying earlier, my brothers and I, we used to watch wrestling back in the day. And
WCW.
I remember 3 people that stood out for me. Mm-hmm. Goldberg. Who's back right now. Sting, who came back a couple years ago. And Diamond Dallas Page, who went into the Hall of Fame last night.
That's right, DDP. We both got very emotional about DDP.
I did. I got very emotional about DDP, because it's not just because he was such a great wrestler, but he's a great person, too.
Oh, yeah.
He is humble as can be. And he's not only taken his wrestling career, but he's taking his career afterwards with DDP Yoga. Mm-hmm. And he's helped people. I mean, he's sort of taken his fame and used it for good instead of, it's all about him.
Yeah. And if, once again, if we have listeners who aren't familiar, you probably have seen the YouTube video, a guy named Arthur, who was on crutches and did yoga. And it was DDP Yoga, who is this professional wrestler, who started his own yoga program. A paratrooper, a veteran in the military, who was told he would basically never walk again without the assistance of these crutches that he was using, started doing DDP yoga, lost a ton of weight, and the guy not only walks now, he runs, you know?
Yeah.
And that's really powerful.
DDP, he also helped Scott Hall get back on his feet. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's another wrestler from, I think he was back in the 80s.
Razor Ramon, well, 90s? No, he was part of the NWO.
Was he? I don't remember. Like I said, I knew about 3 big names.
Yeah. But, Scott Hall and Jake the Snake Roberts. That's the one from the 80s, Jake the Snake.
That's the one I was thinking of.
And if you don't follow wrestling history, these are people that they thought were going to be another tragic wrestling story of someone dying too young. Alcoholics and drug issues with both of them. And people had really written them off. Like, they'll never recover. And DDP took them in and cleaned them up, and they're both looking pretty healthy. I mean, addiction is a crazy thing, so it's hard for me to say they're clean. But by all accounts, these guys are clean and sober now and living a good life.
Well, they showed both of them last night in the crowd at the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. They looked good.
They looked good, yeah.
And it was one of those moments that was very cool, because they looked very proud.
And both of them are now WWE Hall of Famers themselves, which I think is really cool. Which
is amazing, because they've come so far from where they were, because they were on top of the world and then hit rock bottom, and now they're basically back on top again.
Yeah. So when DDP was standing out there and he's talking about, one, he wasn't supposed to be a star in the first place. He didn't get started till he was like 35.
Well, the first WrestleMania that he was sort of in, it wasn't even him. It was his car. They chose him for his car.
He had a pink Cadillac that they used to put over the Honky Tonk Man of all people. DDP's got a great story. There were a couple others, Rock and Roll Express, who was before my time and certainly before your time, but they're an iconic tag team. For me, Beth Phoenix was really cool.
I don't think I saw that, but yeah, I remember when I sort of came back to watching wrestling with you. I think Beth Phoenix was still around, and it was very cool to see her go into the Hall of Fame.
And she was one that I didn't necessarily think deserved, quote unquote, to be in it. I mean, WWE can put whoever they want in; it's their Hall of Fame. But she hadn't done as much as some of the other people that get into these Hall of Fames.
Well, like last year, they had Lita.
They did have, and Lita is
right. To me,
she's
Lita's
iconic.
Done a lot.
Yeah. So Beth Phoenix, I was sort of confused, but when you had her up there, they had all the divas from sort of her era, when they were divas. They're wrestlers again. And you could tell that all these women from her sort of time frame really respect her, really thought that she was top-notch. And that was at a time when women's wrestling wasn't taken as seriously. I know that's only a few years ago, but it wasn't. It was models and
right. And I'm glad it's come as far as it has, because me personally as a woman, I remember coming back and watching wrestling, and there were people like Kelly.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you here?
She looked like a Barbie doll. Her name is Barbie.
Yeah, you're Barbie doll in the ring. You have no point other than for the guys to stare at you.
Right.
We don't want to watch you wrestle.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I know there's some Kelly fans maybe, but that's my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And Natalya, Natty Neidhart, who was introducing Beth Phoenix, during that time frame, they sort of lit and it was a small torch at the time, but they sort of lit the torch for still, hey, we should have real wrestlers in the business. And so that's why I think Beth Phoenix is in the Hall of Fame.
I agree with that. I do think Beth Phoenix and Natty are both great women who actually wrestled and were not just there for, I mean, they are strong and powerful actual wrestlers. They know how to wrestle, not just stand in the ring and look pretty.
Right.
I mean, they do that too, but...
Yeah. We're deep in already, and we haven't even started our casual fans conversation. But last night, also, Kurt Angle went to the Hall of Fame. Kurt Angle had addiction issues as well. Went to TNA for a while, which is ick.
When they go to TNA, I'm kind of like, oh...
Where careers go to die.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, your career has gotten sad now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to say this, and it's going to hurt me again.
Oh, no.
Like the Hardy Boys.
Well, the Hardy Boys reinvented themselves. You haven't seen any of that. Broken Matt Hardy? You haven't seen any of that?
I haven't, but, you know, they were so on top when they were in...
Spoiler alert. They might be coming back to the WWE.
I'd be
soon.
very happy if they did,
and they
because when they went to TNA, I'm like, I'm sorry, but you guys have lost it.
Well, this is the casual fan versus the hardcore fan here again. They have reinvented themselves, and they're way over right now. Like, people love Broken Matt Hardy right now.
I hope so.
Matt Hardy is more popular than Jeff Hardy right now, which blows my mind.
That's unheard of.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah, because I remember back in the day, Jeff Hardy was the crazy... weird one.
Oh, it's definitely... Oh, my gosh. I should show you some Broken Matt Hardy now.
I'm very excited about
I'm going to have
now.
to... When we're done recording, I'm going to have to show you some of this, Jen, because he's just got... He basically had the idea of his character is he went insane. And from there...
Why is it always one of the Hardy Boys have to go insane?
Yeah, that's right. But, yeah, so even during Kurt Angle's speech last night, he mentioned the Hardy Boys, and the whole crowd starts chanting, delete, 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 which is something that Matt Hardy does now. But back to Kurt Angle. Yes. Kurt Angle is a story of a guy who I think could have been one of, if not the greatest professional wrestler of all time. But he had demons. He had drug addictions. Yeah. He broke his neck before he came to wrestling, so he had neck issues and things like that. And so he ended up in TNA. So it was really sad to sort of see him wasting away. And now, with at least returning to the Hall of Fame, being part of the WWE, I at least feel like he gets his space in history back.
Right.
To say, he's an icon.
His biggest claim to fame, though, is because he went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
And he won a gold medal.
With a broken friggin' neck. That's part of a catchphrase.
Right.
Don't mind me.
Well, I'm saying, though, like, he had everything in his hand.
He was a star before.
Yeah, he was a star before he went to wrestling.
He actually told a story last night that right when he won the Olympic medal, Vince McMahon offered him basically a boatload of cash, and he said no. And then 2 years later, he wanted to do wrestling, and he was like, and Vince was at that point like, well, now you got to try out like anybody else. So he had to earn it, and he was great. But for me, it's just great to see him not wasting away in front of small crowds, but having his place in history. So
yeah. I do think there is a piece of a wrestling fan that dies every time you see one of your favorite wrestlers, their career sort of wasting away, or their life even just wasting away. Because you don't want to see these people that you look up to, in a sense, turn to drugs and all that sort of stuff. And it's the same thing with any famous person. You really hate to see them sort of waste their life. And, I understand people have demons and stuff like that, and it sucks. It really sucks to see them. So when they make that comeback, it's just everything is right with the world again.
Yeah, we love an underdog story, and I like rooting for Kurt Angle to get his head on straight and be back part of the fold. So, okay, let's turn now to our WrestleMania weekend, our preview. And like I said, we're going to try to make this as fan-friendly for casual people who maybe don't know what's going on, for you to jump in. Maybe you'll pay your $9.99 to be part of the WWE Network for just one night, to be a part of the extravaganza that is WrestleMania. And it really kicks off...
Well, let's talk about that even for a second.
The $9.99?
Yeah, because the WWE Network is so
awesome.
Amazing. Because
it's worth my $10 to go back and watch stuff from the 90s.
Yeah, you can watch any match you want. And I remember when WrestleMania used to be $60. Yep. Now you can subscribe to the network for $10.
Yeah.
I thank you, wrestling, because that is awesome.
Yeah. The WrestleMania itself is definitely worth $10. I used to, as she said, I used to pay $60 for it and never, maybe a couple times, felt like I didn't get my full money's worth, but I never felt like it was a complete waste of money. It was an entertaining show that lasted all day. And so, now for $9.99, all day, every day, they could have my $9.99 for WrestleMania. And for what happens tonight, which is NXT Takeover Orlando. So, once again, I'm going to do my best to explain this for people who maybe you're giving this a try for the first time. Maybe you like our podcast and you're like, okay, let's hear what they have to say about this. NXT is sort of like watching a minor league baseball team. Now, that is not to say that they're not big stars in NXT. In fact, one of the biggest stars in the world until a couple years ago, the biggest star from Japan, is in NXT right now. So they have some big stars still. But it's a lot of guys still like honing their craft, getting ready for the big time, and sort of holding out there while the WWE finds out what to do with them. And so I'm just going to run this down because I know you don't watch a lot of NXT, but I do want to hit just 3 of the big matches that will be on tonight that I think you will have some commentary on.
Yeah, I haven't watched NXT as much lately. I feel like a lot of people that I watched have come up. I'm still waiting for one or two of them.
We'll get there.
And I know we'll get there, but I do feel like a lot of people that I like have come up, so I'm kind of, having fun watching them in let's say the major leagues,
If this is your first time, let's say tonight you're going to watch NXT, it'll be the first time. Just know that a lot of their big stars, 6 months, a year ago, depending on, basically a year ago, a lot of their biggest stars started to come up to the main roster. And so you had people, some of these names will mean nothing to you, but you had people like Finn Balor and Bayley, Sasha Banks and Charlotte was a little before that, and American Alpha, and just all kinds of really...
Enzo and Big Cass.
We'll get to them, too.
I know, but they're my favorite.
So they had a lot of big names leave to go to the main roster, and so they're sort of been in a rebuilding year. But that's why I'm going to keep to the top 3 matches, because I think the top 3 matches are well worth the price of admission. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so here we go. The top 3 matches for NXT TakeOver Orlando that I think people will care about. The first one is a tag team triple threat match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Team DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa versus the Revival, Dawson and Wilder, and then the Authors of Pain, managed by Paul Ellering. Now, this one I'll speak to a little bit, but I know you can speak to some of it. If for nothing else, the Authors of Pain, they're all right. They're just big dudes. They're going to smash things. So if you like seeing big dudes just throw people around, they're for you. But Team DIY, Gargano and Ciampa, and the Revival last year had the best tag team match that I think I might have ever seen, but certainly that I've seen in probably the past 5 or 10 years. Those two teams are awesome. If you're an old school wrestling fan, the Revival is straight out of the 80s. They're a great tag team, and so I think this match is going to be a lot of fun. I know you're not completely familiar, but you do know Gargano and Ciampa.
I do. I have to say, though, I'm going to be a big Johnny Gargano fan because I remember him wrestling around here.
Cleveland's own. Yeah, he's a Cleveland boy. Johnny Wrestling.
I remember he used to come to Fremont, Ohio, and wrestling in hybrid wrestling is what it was.
In a school gymnasium or something, wasn't it?
No, it was like a rec center, I think.
A rec center, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. He's a cool dude.
So I'm rooting for Gargano and Ciampa, but I think Gargano and Ciampa should go to the main roster. I think they're ready.
I think at some, I don't know. I think they might need just a little bit more in NXT.
To be fair, I think
they're good enough, but I think if you give them that little bit of extra time, I think they'll just be golden.
I want to see the Revival and Team DIY on the main roster, but I'm biased. So I think the Revival might be on their way up. So I think that maybe Gargano and Ciampa might win tonight. But I honestly think the Authors of Pain are probably going to win because that's who they're pushing. But they're the worst tag team in this match. But that's how it works in minor league baseball, right?
Right. You can't have your favorite ones win every single time, because then every event will be boring.
Yeah, and someone has to develop. They have to create new talent, and that's what they're trying to do, create a new monster tag team. So Authors of Pain probably win that one, but I'm secretly pulling for Gargano and Ciampa. Now, the next one I think you might have an opinion on, and that is Asuka versus Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship. What do you think of Asuka, honey?
I like Asuka. I also like Ember Moon, though.
Yeah, Ember Moon has a cool... once again, for my casual fans out there, Ember Moon is almost a Mortal Kombat character.
Yeah.
And Asuka is just a booty kicker. She's held the title for a year now.
She's a badass.
Yeah, she can't be beaten, and she's this Japanese women's wrestler who is just brutal, but she's now going up against a Mortal Kombat character, and we're starting to see what happens there.
To be fair, I think the biggest thing that kind of put Asuka over was when it was Asuka versus Bayley.
That was a year ago.
It was.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of launched Asuka very far.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what's going to bring her up.
And they've spent the whole year being like, she cannot be beaten. So she beat Bayley, who was a big star in NXT. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like, can anyone stop her? They brought in Mickie James, who at this point is a WWE legend.
Yeah.
And Asuka ran through her. Every obstacle Asuka's ran through. They've made her fight 3 girls one time. Asuka ran through them. So they are presenting Ember Moon as the first real challenge to Asuka. And I think, personally, Asuka's on her way up. I think Ember Moon wins this match.
You know, I would love to see that, honestly. I would love to see that. I would love to see Asuka, sort of lose, because that's kind of what happens each time is before they come up, they lose.
Yeah, you lose on your way up.
So I would love to see Ember Moon become that new face of NXT women.
Yeah, and I think it might happen because SmackDown is having we'll get to there, but SmackDown is sort of having an open match, open invitation kind of match. I'd like to see Asuka at WrestleMania. I think that's probably asking too much, but I think Asuka shows up Monday or Tuesday, and she's done with NXT. We'll see. They usually like to keep people down for a couple more months. So if she lost the title, they'd usually keep her around to have a rematch or something.
Yeah.
But for me, Asuka's ready. It's time. Speaking of it's time, and now this one I know you can speak to, because there is a main event for NXT TakeOver Orlando, and it's glorious. No, I won't give in. But you don't care about glorious.
No.
You care about...
I think it's probably because I've heard you sing that song around our house. I don't know how many times.
I'm gonna insert that song. Everyone pause. Ready? That was glorious. That's what it was. Because we have Bobby Roode versus Holly's favorite, Shinsuke Nakamura.
I love Nakamura.
Yeah, Nakamura is awesome. So once again, for the uninitiated, Bobby Roode is a workhorse. He's a guy that worked in TNA for a lot of years. He's finally getting his chance in WWE. He's got a great theme song. But he's just like a worker. He's sort of just like a wrestler. Shinsuke. Do you want to describe Shinsuke?
He's better.
He's better.
He's so much better. He's from Japan.
He is from Japan.
He did very well in Japan.
He was like their biggest star.
Yeah. So, of course, even though he was the biggest star in Japan, he didn't come to the main roster. He had to, sort of initiate his way through NXT first.
I think a lot of it was so he could learn some English.
Yes. He doesn't speak English very well, but it does not stop him at all. Just because he doesn't speak English very well does not mean he is not the most charismatic person there right now.
Stay in your microphone. You're getting excited about Shinsuke.
I am. I'm getting very excited because he's one of my favorite wrestlers next to Enzo and Big Cass. I love people with charisma.
You do.
I really do.
So a year ago, Shinsuke debuted in a match with Sami Zayn, which is one of the greatest, another great match.
They had the best chant in the world.
Both these guys. The
crowd. No, it was like Wrestle Forever or something like that.
Fight Forever, yeah.
Yeah, Fight Forever, because it was the greatest match.
It was such a great match that people couldn't choose sides. They just wanted to see these guys wrestle forever. But Shinsuke, when you saw, because I had known a little bit about Shinsuke Nakamura. I knew about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I knew what we were getting. But when you saw Shinsuke Nakamura come out, you lost it. What is it about Shinsuke you love so much?
I think it's kind of what I said, that charisma. Yeah. He knows how to wrestle.
That's true.
I'm sorry, I hate it when new people come in and they're supposed to get over and they're supposed to be great and they just can't wrestle.
Chris Hero's doing that to me a little bit. Chris Hero has joined the roster and he's only had a couple matches, but he hasn't blown me away yet. But...
Eva Marie.
Oh, Eva Marie. That's okay. Now we're talking completely different planes.
Yes. I'm sorry. I can't stand Eva Marie.
Chris Hero is 5 stars every time compared to Eva Marie. That's not even close.
I'm sorry. I cannot stand her because I don't believe she's in it for the wrestling.
Well, I think she's gone, but talk to me about Shinsuke.
Anyway, Shinsuke Nakamura. He wrestles amazing. He's on top of his game every single time. He doesn't speak English, but he gets his point across every time, clear as day.
So your big point for Shinsuke is he literally he oozes charisma. Everything he does.
Yes.
And once again, if you're completely uninitiated, if you don't know what we're talking about, Shinsuke Nakamura, imagine a pro wrestler. Like, that's easy, the tights and everything like that.
Google him. Seriously.
Yeah, Google him. But now imagine that pro wrestler acts sort of like a weird combination of Prince, Michael Jackson, and someone on a lot of drugs, but then is also an awesome fighter.
That is a very accurate description.
Is that an accurate description?
That is very accurate.
So he's sort of like twitchy and weird, but like he gets in people's heads, and I love Shinsuke. Shinsuke's great.
I love his theme song, too. It's so catchy.
It is. Not as catchy as Glorious.
No, I don't know.
Oh, fine. But so who do you think wins that match? Bobby Roode and Shinsuke?
Honestly, I'm not going to like the answer. I think, honestly, Shinsuke loses because I think he's on his way up.
He's on his way up, so Bobby Roode has to stick around to carry NXT. I'll agree with you. I think that's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm not going to like it, but I'll like it once Shinsuke's up.
All right, so that's TakeOver. Let's start talking about WrestleMania.
Yes.
All right, so WrestleMania. Let's talk, and this is our official start to the Casual Fans Guide to WrestleMania. If they've never watched, we need to catch them up. So we're going to talk about the pre-show. Let's talk about the pre-show. The pre-show match, Neville versus Austin Aries. Honey, do you have an opinion on Neville or Austin Aries?
Meh.
You're not feeling the Cruiserweight match?
No, I haven't really been feeling the Cruiserweight match. I think part of it is I don't like Neville.
You don't like Neville?
I don't know what it is. I just don't like Neville.
Well, see here, and so like I said, let me catch everybody up here. Neville, the WWE started doing cruiserweights. They had a great cruiserweight tournament back in the summer. They started bringing back the cruiserweights, which is a big staple of WCW. And they sort of struggled out the gate to get a star in their cruiserweight division. They had a couple champions, this guy named TJ Perkins, who was really good, but isn't charismatic like you just talked about with Shinsuke.
That's kind of what I think it is for me, is the cruiserweights don't have a real great star. Yeah. Because I know Neville is kind of their star, but to me, he's not a great one, whereas NXT and WWE and the main roster, you have somebody very defined.
Okay. Well, and that was part of it. Neville was on the main roster, but they had a couple champions. They had TJ Perkins, Rich Swann, Brian Kendrick. They just weren't connecting. So Neville came down to the cruiserweights, basically. And all of a sudden, this guy who on the main roster was like, he looked small. Now he's a giant in this division. He looks huge. And he comes in as the king of the cruiserweight. So he sort of took over the division to be that guy, the star.
I think it's a good move for him, but for me, I don't buy it personally. I think in the main roster...
You're breaking my heart. We're arguing here.
I know. I think on the main roster, he would have gotten lost.
He did, and that's why he's in the cruiser.
Right. Like I said, I think it's a good move for him. Yeah. I just don't care for him.
But anyway, so he's taken over the division, and now there's another star, Austin Aries, who was a big star in other promotions. He calls himself the greatest man that ever lived, which is really cool. And so finally, they have a big, high-profile match for this cruiserweight division that's going to be on the WrestleMania pre-show between Neville and Austin Aries. So Neville is sort of a bully now. He's sort of, he's kind of ugly and mean and declared himself the king of the cruiserweights. Austin Aries is just too cool for school kind of guy, and they're both great wrestlers. I think they're going to have a show-stealing match, personally. I think they're going to make a big impact on that
Maybe
pre-show.
That's kind of why I don't really like Neville so much, or the cruiserweights, is that, they don't have that. They don't have a hero.
They don't have a hero. Austin Aries is the closest thing they're going to have to a hero.
And even then, I don't feel he's super redeeming.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, do you have a pick? Who's going to win?
I'm going to say Neville's going to win.
You're going to say Neville? I'm going to pick Austin Aries. We're going to have to keep track of these so we can see who has the better score for WrestleMania weekend. But I'm going to say Austin Aries takes the title for a feel-good WWE WrestleMania moment. Also, on the pre-show, we have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Any thoughts on that? Do you even know who's in that?
I can't think of who's in it. And I know it's a battle royal, so there's a lot of people.
The Big Show's in it.
I love the Big Show.
Mojo Rawley's in it. Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn.
Probably all the tag teams are going to be in it. So,
yeah. I would like to say Big Show, but Big Show never wins it anymore.
He won it 2 years ago.
He did?
Yeah. The 3 winners have been Cesaro, the Big Show, and last year was Baron Corbin.
Meh.
Okay. Well, once again, to catch people up, Andre the Giant. You might know Andre the Giant from The Princess Bride. Anybody want a peanut? He was a big star. He always won battle royals. Now they're doing a memorial battle royal every year. And this year, since you're not super familiar with some of the maybe extra people that are on it, for me, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal comes down to one name. Braun Strowman. What do you think of Braun Strowman?
Oh, yeah. They're definitely putting him over right now. I think he's going to win it.
I think he's going to win it. The only way he doesn't win it, I think, is if they sneak somebody in as a surprise. They're probably not going to... I don't think they'll throw Finn Balor or somebody in there, but somebody... Maybe come up from NXT, something. I don't know. That's the only way I see. Maybe the Drifter will win.
Oh, no.
Oh, you don't like the Drifter?
Oh, I hate the Drifter.
But no, I think
he's got the worst gimmick in the world.
I think at the end of the day, it's going to come down to Big Show versus Braun Strowman, and they're going to put Braun Strowman over the top, beating the Big Show.
Yeah, I'll definitely agree with that. Braun Strowman, to me, he was one of those characters that kind of faded in the background at first, and they've really seemed to push him.
And he's doing great. He's like actually a monster now.
He is. He's doing great. He's a huge dude.
Yeah.
I definitely think that he could do it.
Yeah. You know who Big Show was supposed to have a match with?
Who?
Shaq.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, Shaq bounced out of it apparently. Yeah.
Shaq, come on.
Yeah, what a wuss. So now
you say that now, but that dude's huge.
He is. I wouldn't say it to his face, but
yeah.
But yeah, he backed out of a match with the Big Show. Shame on him.
I know, that makes me sad.
Yep. But so I think Big Show gets his WrestleMania moment, but he loses to Braun Strowman. Okay, now we're going to the SmackDown side. I have to catch you up as one of the casuals to let you know what's going on.
I'm not much of a SmackDown person.
So SmackDown, they made a match where Alexa Bliss, who is the champion, who we've seen in person, Alexa. You don't like Alexa Bliss?
I don't.
Oh, you need to watch SmackDown. Alexa Bliss is killing it right now.
I know, but for me, she's not the picture of strong female.
She's small. She's mighty, but small.
Eh.
All right, so on SmackDown, they have a champion. Her name is Alexa Bliss. She is a small tyrant of a woman. That is sort of her gimmick, that she's evil, basically, but she's cunning, and so she keeps her title. And she is, as punishment for her behavior, basically, they've put her against every member of the SmackDown women's roster: Becky Lynch, Natalya, Mickie James, Carmella, and a returning Naomi, who is the person Alexa injured to sort of steal the title away. So Naomi is from Orlando.
I think she will probably do well for a minute, but I don't think she'll win.
You don't think they're going to give it to her?
No.
See, part of me is still hoping Asuka shows up and wins this. So if that happens, I want to get a point for that. But since she's not officially in the story,
yeah, I think
Alexa keeps it.
That's very possible. Yes. I will say on the Naomi thing, I think what WWE likes to do a lot is they like to sort of dangle your hometown hero in front of you and make them lose.
Yep. So
it's a little mean.
It is a little mean. You like Becky Lynch, though.
I do love Becky Lynch, and I know I'm not supposed to like her, but I love Carmella.
Yeah. So any of those would be fine for you?
Yes.
Do you have an official prediction?
I'm going to go with you on Alexa
keeps
Bliss. Yeah, she's going to keep that.
Unless Asuka or somebody shows up.
Yeah,
I think Alexa
I will
keeps
say
it.
unless somebody unexpected shows up.
Yeah. All right, now we got a big one for you because we got to pause right here so that people can hear Enzo and Big Cass. Here it is.
Yay.
My name is Enzo Amore, and I am a certified G and a bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is Big Cass, and he's 7 foot tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guys in the room, how you doing? There's only one word to describe you, and I'm gonna spell it out for you. S-A-W-F-T.
So that was Enzo and Big Cass, who will be in their first WrestleMania. They debuted the night after WrestleMania last year, going against Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, who are the current tag team champions. And they will also be facing Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Before you comment, let me explain. Gallows and Anderson were big stars in Japan. They came in last year to a lot of hype. They sort of had a good couple months, and they got lost in the shuffle, and they're finally getting their shot right now as champions. They're just bruisers, good wrestlers. Cesaro and Sheamus started out as sort of frenemies who became a really great tag team. And then, Holly, I know you'll want to comment. Enzo and Big Cass are charismatic Jersey Shore wrestlers who are insanely popular. What do you think of Enzo and Big Cass?
I'm going to explain this the simplest way possible. How much I like them, their entrance music is my ringtone. I take my ringtone very seriously.
Not anybody can be your ringtone.
Not anybody can be my ringtone.
And they are, they're sort of a callback, once again, if you're a casual fan, to maybe like the New Age Outlaws. They sort of have that sing-along, that charisma.
They have a gimmick that everybody knows and says it with them every time they come out.
Yeah, because if you face them, there's only one word to describe you, isn't there, honey?
There is.
And what is it?
S-A-W-F-T.
Soft. And so, Enzo Amore is the most charismatic person in the WWE main roster for probably since The Rock. Now,
absolutely.
He's not as good of a wrestler as The Rock, and I think that keeps him down a little bit. He's not as good a wrestler as The Rock.
I know. I want him to be. I really want
I want him to be, too, because he's so good on the mic.
Yes, he is. I could watch Enzo and Big Cass. I could watch their matches all day, every day. So,
and if you want to understand the tag team, just imagine... just think of like bullies that maybe like existed in your high school or something like that. I mean, it's sort of a TV stereotype, but where there's like a little dog, a little chihuahua of a man who stands out and like barks like, hey, I could take you. Yeah, I could take you. I'd knock you down anytime. Yeah, anytime I want. But he's not actually tough. Instead, he's got a big, and I hate to say this about Cass, but he's got like kind of a big dumb oaf to protect him all the time. And that's Enzo and Big Cass, but in like the best way possible.
Yeah, I would say, as much as that hurts me.
Yeah, is that an accurate description?
That is an accurate description. Yeah. And I love them because Enzo, he looks goofy as heck.
Yeah, he's
but
goofy.
I love him.
Yeah,
because he's always got like leopard print pants and
leopard print hair.
Yeah, leopard print hair. His hair is definitely weird, and then he talks on the mic all the time. And to me, if you're a wrestler and you can't talk on the mic,
you're out.
Don't.
You'd be like Shinsuke.
Well, no.
Oh, because he doesn't. You're saying he doesn't talk.
He doesn't need to talk.
Oh, I get you.
But there are ones that, if they need to talk, they can't, and it's awful.
Okay.
It ruins the whole thing for me. Because Brock Lesnar...
Oh, don't do that to Brock.
No, I have to.
Brock doesn't need to talk.
He does sometimes. That's why he has Paul Heyman.
That's why he has Paul Heyman. You're skipping ahead.
I am, but Brock Lesnar sounds like a whiny little girl.
He does, sorta. He has kind of a higher pitched voice than a man of that size should have.
Exactly. It doesn't match. and I don't like it. So when either Cass talks or Enzo, it matches, and it makes them powerful. It makes them seem, credible.
Okay, so we have an obvious bias in this match.
Yes.
Do you have any thoughts on Gallows and Anderson or Sheamus and Cesaro?
They're going to lose.
They're both, all right, but neither of them are really...
They're not stars.
Not right now. I think Anderson and Gallows should be stars, but in the WWE, they're kind of lost.
I don't feel they have that motivation.
Well, I don't know if it's the motivation, but the WWE is not motivated to do more with them. But one way or another, my pick, I believe your pick, Enzo and Big Cass for just a giant WrestleMania reaction when they win the titles. Are you going to agree with me on that?
Absolutely.
Okay, Enzo and Big Cass. Perfect. All right, so our next match, and I think we're going to breeze through this one because it's on SmackDown, so you don't know about it much, and I don't care about it. But for the Intercontinental Championship, Intercontinental Champion Dean Ambrose going one-on-one with Baron Corbin.
I got an opinion.
You got an opinion?
Oh, yeah.
What's your opinion?
Dean Ambrose all the way.
Well, I would agree with that, but I'm not super excited about this match. I don't think they've...
No, I don't
From what
think
I've watched,
their...
it's kind of just there.
Yeah, every once in a while they do have a match that's just kind of there, and Dean Ambrose was pushed for a while. And
I do love Dean Ambrose, but I don't think they know what to do with him a lot of the time.
Yeah, I don't think they know what to do with him right now, so he is kind of left all alone. I think they had started to push Baron Corbin, but once again dropped it.
And they've done more. I know you haven't watched. They've done more with him lately, and he's been doing better. He sort of has a character, but this is just.
There's no momentum to his character right now.
Yeah, I'm not feeling this match. It's not doing a whole lot for me. But I do like Dean Ambrose, so I'm going to say let's win Dean Ambrose just because he's my guy. But I'm not super stoked.
He's an Ohio boy, too.
He is an Ohio boy from Cincinnati. Lives in Las Vegas now, but he is from Cincinnati.
I don't care. I got to go with Ohio people.
Yeah, go with Dean. I think Baron might win just because, a new guy to get over, put the title on him. Once again, if you're just listening... and you have no opinion or you have no knowledge of, knowledge of wrestling, Dean Ambrose is supposed to be like a crazy person. I don't care about the rules. I'm going to do what I want. And Baron Corbin is basically a big football-playing biker. And that's really all they've given them. There hasn't been as much character development for those two as maybe there should be.
No, I think they have the potential to do it with Dean Ambrose because he has the Ambrose Asylum. I really think they could play that up like they did with Bray Wyatt, because they really played up the crazy Southern Baptist sort of turn crazy.
Yeah.
And I feel like they could do that just in a different way.
Amp up the crazy.
Yeah, they could. I don't feel like they've done it yet.
Which they tried to do last year. He had a match with Brock Lesnar, and they tried to amp up the crazy, but it ended up being kind of hokey. So he's been sort of in a stall pattern for a year for me.
Yeah. I really think that if you amp up that crazy with Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt and Ambrose could have an amazing match.
They did a couple years ago have great matches, but yeah, you'd have to bring Ambrose back up. Actually, he was the champion. I should say he hasn't been holding battle for a year. He was a champion 6 months ago.
Yeah,
but it was kind of weak. So
yeah, I really think you could do a lot more, and they could have some great matches if only they pay attention to it.
And not everyone can be a star at the same time. That's part
right.
That's part of the thing. So, okay, next one. This one casual fans might be aware of because of the connection to the E! Network, and maybe on the Today Show you've seen it, or something else, or you probably at least know one of the combatants if you don't know both of them. John Cena and Nikki Bella versus The Miz and Maurice. So John Cena is John Cena. If you don't know John Cena, you probably at least know the memes about not being able to see him or the prank calls.
To be fair, I don't know who hasn't at least heard of John Cena
right at
now.
This point. The Miz used to be on The Real World. Now he's made his name as a pro wrestler. He's a former world champion, and he plays a Hollywood star. And then they both have their respective girlfriends. John Cena's girlfriend is basically a jock girl with big boobs and wants to high fashion. And then Miz's wife actually is a legitimate French model. So that's sort of the story there. And it's all been built around this idea of Miz and Maurice making fun of Nikki Bella for John Cena never wanting to marry her, which was a theme on the Total Divas show.
Yes. Obviously, I'm going to go with The Miz and Maurice.
You think The Miz and Maurice are going to win? No chance.
Yeah, probably not. But that's what I would like to see.
Really?
I would like to see that. Well,
you like John Cena, though.
I like John Cena.
You're anti-Nikki Bella.
I wouldn't say I'm very anti-Nikki Bella. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. She's, once again, got that whole prissy girl. I'm going to walk around here and be pretty and fake boobs and stuff. And I don't care for it.
Yeah.
To me, she's not a good enough role model.
Ooh. She has a lot of young girl fans. Does that freak you out? Is that like young girls saying they like Kim Kardashian to you?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
To me, I know a lot of people would not be okay with this, but I would say to me she's not a good role model.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
All right.
So I think that John Cena is. Yes, I do like him.
Whether it's true or not, her character is sort of a gold digger.
Yeah, and I'm not okay with that. I don't like it.
Okay. Well, here, let me throw this in there, a little inside baseball. The rumor is, and it was even mentioned on the Today Show the other day, because John Cena co-hosts the Today Show sometimes. The rumor is that this is Nikki Bella's retirement match, and after the match, John Cena will propose to her in the ring. What do you think of that?
I think that's hearsay.
You think that's hearsay? You don't see it happening? I don't think
he's going to do it. No.
Oh, come on. You don't think he's finally going to marry the girl?
No.
After all these years?
No. To me,
would you marry her? No, I'm kidding.
That's weird.
You married me. You're stuck with me.
I like you.
Good. You don't like Nikki Bella?
No. To me, honestly, I don't think he will marry her. I think some people, they always say, I'm not going to get married, and you just have to live with that. And I think, honestly, she needs to stop having these expectations.
Because he said he wouldn't marry her.
He said from the beginning, and he said it so many times, he doesn't want to get married. He was married before. It obviously ended. And I think some people after that, they're burned by it. They don't ever want to do it again.
So you don't think that's going to be the big WrestleMania moment, the proposal?
No.
Oh, I'm betting on it now. See, it's good. We got deviating opinions here. It'll work.
I don't think so. And, I mean, yeah, it'd be great for her if that happens, but to me as a fan, whoop-de-doo, you're getting married. You've only talked about it 50 million times.
Wow.
I know. It's cold. It's cold.
You are rooting for the bad guys in this match strongly.
Am.
Actually, last night, Miz got a lot of cheers at the Hall of Fame, so maybe
fair,
you're not.
Miz has a big place in my heart.
We
named a dog after Miz.
We did, our dog. And we loved her very much.
We did. She was the sweetest dog. And when we started dating, Miz kind of was a good guy, and we got the Miz
He wasn't
shirts.
a good guy. We just got shirts because we liked him.
I feel like he was a good guy.
He was not a good guy. No.
For a moment.
No. Well, I mean, for a moment, but not when we bought those shirts. Anyway, Go ahead.
But, I mean, we've kind of been Miz fans for a long time.
Miz is awesome.
He is. We went to wrestling a couple months ago, and it was at SmackDown. It was kind of funny because we were the only people in the crowd rooting for the Miz, and I remember kids looking at us, in front of us, and like we were weird. I was like, "Why are you rooting for the bad guy?"
Because he's the Miz. We like the Miz. That's true. I'm a big fan of the Miz, and he's been on the Miz's last year. I think has been some of his best stuff since he was the world champion, and so I want to see him push to the moon. But I don't think he's beating John Cena at WrestleMania, and I think Nikki Bella's getting proposed to. So we're on different pages here, but.
But what if that's the upset match?
Oh, okay, what if that's the upset match? The shocking finish like The Undertaker, right?
Yeah.
All right, the next one has a really great story behind it. Chris Jericho, the United States champion, versus Kevin Owens. Now, Kevin Owens is my boy. I love Kevin Owens. I root very strongly for Kevin Owens. He's one of my favorite people on the roster. And to catch everybody up, these two were supposed to be best friends. They got put together like a year ago or something. And they spent most of the year as best friends. Kevin Owens won the championship. Chris Jericho protect him. And Chris Jericho's been putting people on the list. That's a big part of the story here. He's made a list of his enemies. And so they finally had what was called the Festival of Friendship, which was so funny to me. And it was one of the great wrestling angles I've seen in years. The big party to celebrate their friendship. And at the end of it, Kevin Owens gives Chris Jericho a list. And the list was the list of KO. And Chris Jericho was on his list. And Kevin Owens turned on him, put his face through like a TV screen, and it was on. The friendship was ruined in a bloodbath. Kevin Owens. And when Kevin Owens first came in, this is the character he was. He was going to turn on his friends. He was going to be ruthless. He was a prize fighter. And so after a year of sort of messing around with Chris Jericho, he's back to the ruthless sort of killing machine. And I'm a big fan. What do you think of KO and Jericho?
To me, it's not that shocking.
It's not that shocking? This is where you thought it was going?
He turned on Sami Zayn.
He did turn on Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn was legit his best friend all through NXT. And then once they came up to
It was before NXT.
Well, still.
When Kevin got to NXT, he turned on Sami Zayn.
Yeah, he turned on Sami Zayn. So for him to turn on Jericho, I saw it coming.
Well, yeah, I think everybody saw it coming, but it was still awesome.
Not to me. It was just kind of like, oh, he turned on his friend. So shocking.
You like Chris Jericho, though.
I do like Jericho.
Because you just made the list. You just made the list!
I love it.
Yeah. You know what this match has?
What?
It. It's not a catchphrase from Chris Jericho, sorry.
You're just going to keep doing catchphrases.
Sure I am.
I love it.
It's the gift of Jericho. Drink it in, man. I'm really excited for this match. I think they could do a good job.
I like Jericho because he's been around for so long now.
Yes, that is Chris Jericho from the Attitude Era, for those who are wondering.
He's been around for a long time, and I think he's still got that it factor.
He has what?
He has the it factor.
He has it.
Yeah. So I think I would like to see Jericho win, but I don't think he will.
No, I think this is Kevin Owens. I think Jericho's going on tour with Fozzy. I think he's going to disappear for a little while. I think this is a Kevin Owens show.
That'll make me sad.
KO Mania 2, baby, back. So.
You know, it'll make me very sad, but he has been back for a while, and I think maybe he's gotten tired of it again, and he's ready to...
He's had a great run. I mean, he comes back every so often and has great years, so he's got nothing left to prove to me, but I think KO wins, and I think it's great. Although this does remind me, we did forget about one thing. In the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, I want to augment that it could also be a vehicle for Samoa Joe. We'll talk more about him later. But until we got here, I'd forgotten that Samoa Joe was back in the main mix of things. So I just want to throw that flag out there. I still think it's Braun Strowman, but Samoa Joe could add some interesting things to that. All right, next we have the women's match: Charlotte Flair versus Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. Boy, that is 3/4 of a really good match. And then there's Nia Jax.
Yeah.
For
I'm
Bayley's
sorry.
Women's Championship.
Nia Jax just irritates me.
Yeah, Nia. She's not ready.
I really do think they brought her up too soon.
Yep.
I don't think she has a very strong gimmick.
She's just a big bruiser of a girl.
Yeah, and I don't think that's enough for her. I really don't.
She's not like most girls.
Yeah, I think she's kind of riding on the fact that she is The Rock's cousin.
Yeah, that's probably true.
And to me, I don't like that because that's Charlotte, and that's how Charlotte's doing things. She's riding on the coattails of her daddy.
Yeah. All right, so once again, to catch up our casual fans, Bayley. Bayley is the nice, awkward, geeky girl from your 5th grade class. She's a hugger. She likes pastel colors and wacky arm-flailing inflatable tube men.
No, they're inflatable Bayley buddies.
They are Bayley buddies. Whatever. Charlotte Flair is like a dynasty. She's Ric Flair's daughter. Woo! Ric Flair's daughter. And so she's sort of living with this idea that she is genetically superior and she deserves to be the champion. Sasha Banks is Snoop Dogg's cousin. So there's a lot of...
Yes, but you know what? I don't feel like she's depending on that.
No, she's not. But they'll probably make reference to it, or Snoop Dogg will show up or something. He does that.
Snoop
he
Dogg,
did it last year.
Yeah, he did it last year. He did her entrance music.
But yeah, her gimmick is sort of that she's like the boss. She's like...
See, I like Sasha Banks because, yes, she is Snoop Dogg's cousin, but she's made her own name.
She has. And she's good in the ring. And that's why I said this is 3/4 of a really good match. Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte would have a great match. Nia Jax is she's there to be sort of the Andre the Giant women's version. She's a big, powerful woman. She is The Rock's cousin, but she's just there to sort of be a bruiser. I think she's there to catch people mostly because there's going to be dives or something. I don't think she's ready. I don't think she wins, but I don't think Bayley escapes with the title. So I'm going to sort of... You got more on Nia?
Yeah, my thing with Nia, too, is also... I don't like her entrance.
What?
Her entrance, they zoom in on her face. She has a look.
She's got eyes. That's apparently her.
Whoop-de-doo.
You're very negative on WrestleMania for how excited you are.
I'm not negative. I think that there are some people that are not ready for WrestleMania, and I think that it is going to sort of put a damper on it because I feel like they brought a lot of people up very fast that were not ready.
Okay.
And now they're just throwing them into matches.
Well, I'm rooting for Bayley. Bayley, I like Bayley a lot, but I think at the end of the day, it's either going to be Charlotte or Sasha Banks. Now, they made it a point that this week it's an elimination match, so people will go out one at a time until the final two. So what I think actually happens is I think Nia goes out early. Bayley eliminates Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks turns on Bayley, and Charlotte wins the title. What say you, Holly?
I will agree with that.
Okay.
I will very much agree with that because I think that'll make for good TV. Not personally how I would have done it.
Who, if you just had your druthers, your happy moment, who wins?
Sasha Banks.
Sasha Banks. You're a big Sasha Banks fan.
Yeah. Because Sasha Banks, she's not. She's a good mix of the in between of Charlotte and Bayley.
Yeah.
She's not 100% good guy. She's not 100% bad guy. She's a little bit of both.
I think she makes a better bad guy, so I'm ready for her to do the heel turn sort of thing. So, but okay. The next match is a weird one. Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. What do you think of that?
That one's a hard one for me. Because I did not grow up watching Shane McMahon.
So you don't.
So
he means nothing to you.
I'm not going to say he means nothing. He's still part of the McMahon family. He's
Yeah.
still a big deal in wrestling. But I'm not saying I'm actively rooting for him, and I don't.
You don't like AJ Styles?
I don't like AJ Styles.
Your AJ Styles bias sneaks in on every wrestling conversation we have.
It does. Honestly, personally, I don't like him, but I will root for him in this one.
All right.
I feel that
AJ in this one.
Yes,
Okay.
I do feel he is a good wrestler. I do feel he is very over with the crowd. He has the potential to go very, very far, and I think that he will.
All right, so for our casuals here, Shane McMahon is the son of Vince McMahon. He is legitimately one of the owners of the company, and he's made a name for himself. He's in his 40s now, but he jumps off really high stuff. So last year, they had a giant Hell in the Cell. He jumped off it to try to beat The Undertaker. He didn't beat The Undertaker. And now he's been sort of back in an administration role in the company for a year. AJ Styles is, and this is where my wife laughs at me, AJ Styles is legitimately one of the best wrestlers on the planet, if not the very best currently.
And I'm going to disagree with that.
No, he's amazing.
I'm going to wholeheartedly disagree with that.
He is phenomenal, literally.
That's his catchphrase.
That is his catchphrase. He's a good Southern country boy. He was in TNA for a while. They wasted him there. He was in Japan where he got another really great start and changed his career completely. Now he's in the WWE, and this is his shot at sort of the big time. And so as a wrestling fan, like wrestling, I'm sad because I don't think Shane McMahon gives him the best match. He could have been in a better match where he could have had a better opponent and done more. But I think in terms of what AJ Styles has been missing his entire career, he's been missing high-profile, big moments. And if you're in the ring with Shane McMahon, you're pretty much guaranteed to have some big moment because Shane will probably jump off something stupid, and AJ he'll get his chance to shine at WrestleMania finally.
I feel like this is kind of one of those things where they sort of had a stat card, and then they're kind of like, well, who can we throw in a match together?
That's
fill a slot.
That's legitimately what happened. Apparently, they were trying to convince Shawn Michaels to come back to have a match with AJ Styles.
Ooh, that would
have been really great because until Shawn Michaels retired, I thought he was the greatest in the world ever. And so him and AJ could have had a lot of fun. But Shawn Michaels is retired. He's not coming back. So now, he gets his match with Shane, which does feel a bit like a throwaway. But I also think if you're going to have a throwaway, it's a really high-profile throwaway.
Yeah, I will say they made a decent throwaway match.
Yeah, we're not talking about like we were the Dean Ambrose thing where it's like, oh, you could do a lot more with that. All right. As we talked about earlier, hit the music. Here we go. The Undertaker going one-on-one with Roman Reigns. So the setup, Roman Reigns is a guy for the last 3-4 years they have tried to turn into the guy, and the fans have rejected him. They don't want him to be the guy, and he is going up against now The Undertaker, who is the legacy of the WWE. As we mentioned, he went 21-1. He's now at 23-1. He is WrestleMania to a lot of people. So it's the guy they want to be the star and the star. Battle of supremacy. What do you think, Holly?
I think that there's a lot of people that they watch WrestleMania just for the Undertaker matches.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
I really think that he is a staple of WrestleMania, and I don't think this match is going to go the way that you think it is.
What do you mean?
I know that just us, we have talked about the Undertaker match this year, and I think that you believe it's going to go in a way that Roman Reigns wins, so that next year Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns can sort of battle it out over, hey, we've both beaten
We're both the guy.
We're both the guy. We've both beaten the dead man, and now we can hash it out.
That's exactly how I think it's going to go down.
I don't think so.
You think The Undertaker wins?
I do, because to me, as much as I don't like it, I sort of get the Brock Lesnar angle where he won.
Yeah.
I don't get that vibe with Roman Reigns.
You don't think so? You don't think they'll do that? Pull that trigger
No, I don't think he's a big enough star
to beat The Undertaker. Ooh, but they
I know-
want
I
him to
know
be
that
that big
saying
of
a
a
lot.
star.
Huh?
They want him to be that big of a star.
They want him to, but I feel like that ship has sailed.
It might have, but I think this is like how they're going to try to inject some blood into it. They've been wanting their Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar, where Roman Reigns beats Brock Lesnar clean for years now, and they never got it, and I think this is how they're going to start it. Now, I will say this, though. Roman has been playing like a bad guy lately. He's been playing the heel role. He's been kind of a cocky jerk, and he's so much better at being a cocky jerk than he is being a superhero. And so I think, my opinion, Roman Reigns finally, I'm probably going to get bit for this because WWE wants him to be a good guy, but I think Roman Reigns finally goes full-on bad guy, beats The Undertaker with nefarious means at WrestleMania, which the crowd will think is blasphemy, to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania by cheating or something. And I think we get the Roman Reigns heel turn finally.
I'm going to disagree with you there.
Yeah, I figured you would.
I think he was much better as a good guy.
Oh, no.
I really do, because if you think about it, his career right now, to me, is going downhill.
It is. Well,
As
he's
a
still
bad
trying to be.
guy.
He's not really a bad guy yet, though. He's this
But
wishy-washy nothing.
This weird limbo thing. It's not working for him.
Well, no, that's not. I just let him be a big Samoan killer again, like he was in The Shield.
Yeah, when he was in the Shield, but
He was a bad guy most of the time in The Shield. They were only good guys for like a short period of time.
They were the vigilantes.
The Vigilante, yes, they were.
So to be a vigilante, you
They
kind of
were
have to
Batman.
They had to be a good guy. You root for Batman. He is a good guy.
They weren't good guys till the end of the year that they were together. But this has nothing to do with anything.
Right. You know, we can disagree. That's fine.
We can, but I think yeah, we finally get to Roman Reigns. Although I could just as easily see the Undertaker winning and then Roman freaking out and beating him with a chair or something, and that puts the Undertaker on the shelf for a while. Any more on them? Just you
No.
love the Undertaker, you do.
Yeah, well, because to me, he is the star of WrestleMania. Like I said, he is that staple. He's what everybody comes to watch. He comes around once a year for WrestleMania.
Yeah, he's a big deal. All right, now we get into the two quote-unquote main events. I'm going to save the best for last. Although this year, a really great storyline has actually been Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. So what happened, Randy Orton came back from an injury. He tried to fight Bray Wyatt. Bray basically told him, you can't beat us. And Randy Orton had this thing where it was like, okay, if you can't beat him, join him. So for about 6 months, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt were together. They were friends. It's sort of like the Kevin Owens thing. But Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship. Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble. For those who are not familiar, winning the Royal Rumble means you get a shot at the championship at WrestleMania. So that was sort of the descent. They sort of lost their friendship at that point. And Randy Orton burned down the Wyatt compound, and they are now, they were sort of brothers, but now it was all sort of a ruse, and now Randy Orton is inside Bray Wyatt's head. Randy Orton is just sort of a blue-chip athlete. There's not much I shouldn't say there's nothing wacky about his character. He's a good wrestler who is Randy Orton. He's sort of a legacy because his father and his grandfather were wrestlers. Bray Wyatt is that Southern Baptist sort of manic street preacher, backwoods, from Louisiana, cult sort of thing. And I think it's going to be more fun than it should be because on paper, I don't like it, but they've had really good build-up and a good story, and I hope it does really well. And I'm going with Randy Orton beats Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. What do you think?
Disagreeing again.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll
see who the prognosticator is come
once again,
Sunday.
I feel like I do have a lot of bias in this one. I don't like Randy Orton.
Yeah?
I don't like Randy Orton because I feel like he's been their number 2 star.
He has. He's right behind John Cena for years.
And to me, he's not that great.
Oh, he's a good wrestler. He's just not always interesting.
He's not interesting. How can he be a star when he's not interesting? They have done nothing to develop his character in years.
Well, they have, though. He was being like a slimy snake. Once again, it's SmackDown. You missed a lot of it.
I don't feel like that's his character. They developed the story, not his character.
He infiltrated the Wyatt clan, and then now he's sort of torn them apart because Wyatt had like a good friend, Luke Harper, that was with him from day one.
Yes.
And Randy Orton got him kicked out, so
I'll admit
he broke up the family kind of thing.
It's a great story, but I feel overall I like Bray Wyatt's character.
Oh, well,
I like his wrestling. He makes wrestling more interesting.
Okay.
So, yes, there's bias on that one. I hope that Bray Wyatt wins.
Okay. I would like Bray Wyatt to win because I like that Bray Wyatt's finally getting his shot, but I think this is Randy Orton. Plus, if you'll remember, it's been a few months now, they let Brock Lesnar give Randy Orton a legitimate elbow strike to the forehead in a match back at like SummerSlam, I think it was. And so I think everything since then has been payment for legitimately getting beat up by Brock Lesnar in a match. And so this is Randy's reward for taking that shot. I really do.
You're a wrestler. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
you're
not
a
supposed to
wrestler.
take an open strike to the head with an elbow.
It's going to happen every once in a while.
Okay, but I feel like they planned and asked him to take a legitimate shot. That's what I'm saying.
If they asked him and he agreed, then why do they owe him?
I don't know if they owe him, but I think they're going to give it to him anyway.
I don't think it's right.
All right, and now the match that really is making this WrestleMania that they didn't have planned 6 months ago. This one came out of nowhere I guess that's almost 6 months ago, in November. So the return of Goldberg. Goldberg came back for the Survivor Series, someone that you loved, and he's going up against Brock Lesnar. So Goldberg, who in wrestling lore was undefeated for a really long time, was sort of the great, he wins matches in 30 seconds versus the legitimate fighter Brock Lesnar, one of the most legit stars that WWE has. Goldberg coming in as the champion versus Brock Lesnar. And they've told a great story here because they had their first match a few months ago, and Goldberg won in a minute, or maybe minute 26 or something like that. It stunned everybody because everyone thought, you can't beat Brock Lesnar that fast. Goldberg did it. And then at the Royal Rumble, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar hooked up again, and Goldberg eliminated him immediately. They've given all of this to Goldberg, that Goldberg is just a wrecking machine, and Brock Lesnar is coming to finally break down the myth that is Goldberg. What say you?
That's the part that scares me because I am a Goldberg fan. I think because they've given so much to him that they're going to take it all away, and it's going to be Brock Lesnar's turn.
I think it is Brock Lesnar's turn. Not quick, but I think it's Brock Lesnar's turn.
I don't like it.
I think Brock Lesnar agreed to make Goldberg look this good so that Brock Lesnar could get his win back at WrestleMania.
Right. I just don't like that Brock Lesnar doesn't have to do much and he just keeps winning at WrestleMania.
He's a legitimate tough guy. He's a draw.
I know he is, but to me, I don't like wrestlers that just drop in whenever they feel like it.
What do you think Goldberg's doing?
Well, yeah, because he's put his time in already. He's a legend.
So is Brock.
Eh.
Oh my gosh, you're still not over Brock beating The Undertaker.
I'm not over it, and I don't like Brock Lesnar. He can't
conquer, repeat.
He can't talk on the mic.
That's why he's got Paul Heyman. My name is
like
Paul Heyman.
To me, he's not the total package.
He's not Lesnar?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. You're kidding.
No,
Oh, my gosh.
I don't feel he's the total package.
Oh, we skipped a match. Sorry.
No, we've talked about a lot of matches.
I know, but we skipped one. But you...
Goldberg, it's going to make me sad once again. I really think he's going to lose, but...
You want to see Goldberg destroy Brock Lesnar one more time?
Absolutely, I do.
No.
Absolutely, I want to see him because, that era comes back.
So you like seeing... You're the nostalgia star. You like seeing the nostalgia star.
I love seeing the nostalgia come back. He's been there for a while. He's been awesome.
That's an interesting question for a more casual fan, though. A lot of times, the hardcores, like me, when the nostalgia acts come back, we say that their job should be to put over the current guys. They should make the current guys look better. But are you telling me that you would rather see just the old guys come through and run rough? If Hulk Hogan came back, should he drop a leg on Sami Zayn or something?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, no, I'm hurt. Oh, I'm hurt.
Okay, but why do you want to see this new guy be better than your legend that you've looked up to for so many years?
Because otherwise, how do you make a new legend?
Yeah, okay, they need to make that name for themselves. I'm all about somebody making a name for themselves, not piggybacking off of somebody else. And to me, if you're piggybacking off of Hulk Hogan, no, you don't deserve to be that big of a star if you're piggybacking off somebody who's already made a name for themselves by themselves.
But they didn't make it. Someone else laid down for them. Hulk Hogan laid down for Undertaker at one point. Ric Flair laid down for Undertaker at one point to make Undertaker the legend that he is. So now the Undertaker should have to lay down for new people. That's how stars are made in wrestling. That's why you lose on the way out. So that's
you lose on the way out, but I don't feel like a lot of them are on their way out.
So if Goldberg's on his way out, shouldn't he lose?
But he's already been on his way out before.
I'm aware of that, but he's on his way out again.
That's one of those things.
If Goldberg's not going to be around in April, should he lose?
I don't want to see him lose now.
That's not what I asked.
I know. Yeah, he probably should. But I don't like that, and I don't want to see it just because I am a Goldberg fan. I've been a Goldberg fan for a long time, and I definitely think that he should go out on a high note because he is a legend.
Go out on his shield. Well, he can go out on his shield this time, defending the championship.
Yeah.
Well, yes, but he just got to lose to Brock Lesnar. F5, baby. It's over.
No.
You new Universal Champion.
I know.
And so if any of my hardcore fans are listening, you'll love the mistake I made because I accidentally skipped a match. So now in the main event, we have to talk about Triple H versus Seth Rollins. Triple H made himself the main event, even on my show. That's a joke only for hardcores. I apologize in advance because everyone thinks Triple H tries to make himself the star of the show. Triple H versus Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins, this one has a good story too, because if you really look at it, it's going back like 2-3 years. Seth Rollins was in the Shield. Triple H chose him as like his hand-picked guy. He turned on all his friends, and him and Triple H ran roughshod together over the WWE for a while. And then they started to have a strained relationship. Seth Rollins last year blew his knee out, missed WrestleMania. They made a big documentary about how he was missing WrestleMania to a knee injury, but he was fighting his way back. He finally came back. He finally became a good guy. And he was going to get his match with Triple H. And about, I think it was 6 weeks before WrestleMania, he was attacked by Samoa Joe and legitimately blew his knee out again. And they didn't know if he was going to make WrestleMania. Turns out he is going to make WrestleMania, and now he gets to fight his boss, basically, in Triple H at WrestleMania in a non-sanctioned match where his knee is going to be an issue. And it's fun. Triple H gets a bad rap. A lot of people are sick of him, but I feel like, once again, you mentioned nostalgia stars or things like that. Any match that Triple H is in, I feel like instantly feels more important. I think Seth Rollins wins, but I think it'll be a good match, and hopefully they can use it to elevate Seth Rollins to face the newly turned Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns becomes a bad guy, and then maybe challenge champion Brock Lesnar for the title.
You know, I feel like that would be a very good story. I hadn't thought about it like that because to me, the Seth Rollins Triple H thing, it's a little too late.
They missed but they should have done it last year. Well, he was hurt.
Well, I know he was hurt, and I'm glad that even though he got hurt this year, he came back. I feel like the Stephanie Triple H thing, that when they sort of toyed with Seth Rollins the first time, I feel that, he should have, the first time he got burned and he was really upset about it, I feel like that's when they should have had a match. So
by wanting to do it at WrestleMania, you think the steam is off already?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like the steam is kind of off.
They should have done it right when he came back or something.
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like that it's too little too late. It's not as big of a deal as what it would have been. I feel like they kind of missed the boat on it. But it'll still be a good match. I definitely think that Seth Rollins will win.
Yep.
And I do think it would be a very good thing to sort of hash out Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns if Roman Reigns turns bad guy, because Seth Rollins will be that hero. Which is so funny, because when we were talking about the Shield earlier, what broke up the Shield was Seth Rollins became the bad guy to
for
go
Triple H.
Yeah, for Triple H. So I feel like we'll come full circle and finally end this story.
Yeah, I think hopefully. I mean, that's the direction I would go. I think it'd be good, especially with flipping the script, because they have fought before with Seth as the bad guy and Roman as the good guy. But I think flipping them, I think it'll be way better. But Triple H has to lose. Now, some people, once again, I said Triple H has a bad rap with a lot of hardcores, because Triple H sometimes wins matches he's supposed to lose, or that he should lose. So I know you have one that you remember from WrestleMania 31. Do you remember that one?
Which one are you talking
That was
about?
Triple H versus Sting.
Oh.
And Sting should have won that match.
Oh, that one.
But
broke
Triple
my heart.
H did. And so Triple H has been notorious for that.
Because Triple H, he's
legitimately married to the boss's daughter.
Right. And so I feel like he gets a lot more control that way. And I feel this character that they are playing up, where Stephanie and Triple H control the company and they do whatever they want to do just because they own it. I feel that he's not really that bad of a guy. He is basically the main creative guy between NXT, so he sort of has his own thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's working hard for. But I feel like they sort of take that ego that he sort of has and they very much played it up.
Right.
So I feel like there is a tiny smidge of him.
Well, and that's actually part of the story that is actually really compelling if you look at it big picture, is that Triple H has spent the last couple of years developing talent, creating new stars with NXT and things like that. And so he's trying to be a creator. But when you challenge him to a wrestling match, he becomes the Destroyer. And on the websites and stuff, like Hunter, this he's like Hercules or He-Man or something. And so sometimes that guy wins. But I think the best move is Seth Rollins wins, yeah.
Absolutely. I am just not cool with the fact that Triple H, because he has the extra stake in the company, there are some times that with his character gets over more just because he is,
yeah.
It's kind of like, well, this is my daddy's company.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get made a fool of, and he sort of did last year because Roman Reigns beat him at WrestleMania, but it doesn't happen enough, and it should happen here. He should get well and truly trounced, and Stephanie probably should too. But I think Samoa Joe might come out and screw over Seth Rollins, and maybe that'll be a thing.
Honestly, I don't think Samoa Joe should be a part of this match. I feel like
he was part of the build-up.
Yeah, he can be part of the build-up, but if you're going back and if you are a fan that sort of followed it, I feel that Samoa Joe, he can be part of the build-up, but I don't feel he should be part of the end result.
He just got shoehorned in at the end there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, honey, that takes us through the card for WrestleMania. This is a huge episode. I apologize for people listening, but maybe it'll get you ready for...
this is kind of a long one.
But it'll get you ready for WrestleMania. Put it on tomorrow before the pre-show, maybe, or listen to it tonight, and you'll get all hyped up for WrestleMania.
Get hyped, stay
Get hyped, stay hyped. Mojo Rawley. Maybe Rob Gronkowski will be in the Honor the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Do you know who that is?
No, I don't.
He's a player for the New England Patriots. And imagine Mojo Rawley, except a real person. That's Rob Gronkowski.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to. He'd be fun for one night, and then you'd be like, I've had enough. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we talked about all of that. You sounded negative on some things, but what match are you looking most forward to?
Oh, the match I'm looking most forward to. Just because they're my boys, I gotta go with Enzo and
Enzo and Cass. Enzo and Cass. I am looking forward to Goldberg and Brock Lesnar, but I know you don't like where that's going to go, so you don't necessarily. If you thought Goldberg was going to win, you'd probably be more
I would
excited.
say that one I would be more excited for if I thought he was going to win, but I don't think he will.
And, of course, I want to see KO and Jericho because I think that'll be a lot of fun. But, all right, well, as you can see, because we've spent almost an hour and a half talking about wrestling, this is why we suck at adulting, everybody. We're no good at it because we spend so much time talking about wrestling and thinking about pop culture. But, hey, if you enjoyed this episode, do us a favor, share it with a friend of yours that maybe likes pro wrestling. Maybe they'll appreciate our commentary. And if you share our episode or give us a rating on iTunes, you can win a $10 Amazon gift card. We're very excited. So give us a like on Facebook, give us a review on iTunes, and we'll come at you with, just in a couple days, hopefully a WrestleMania recap, and we'll see which one of us knew more about wrestling. We know the answer, though, but maybe you win and you can lord it over me like you did the Dave and Buster's basketball game.
Or skee ball.
Oh, jeez. All right, honey, any last words on WrestleMania?
Oh, it makes it sound like something bad's going to happen.
No, something good's going to happen.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good show overall. Hopefully it'll be a very memorable WrestleMania. I do feel like there are some that just kind of faded in the background. Let's hope that this is another good one. I don't feel like they've had as good of a show since The Undertaker lost the streak. So
WrestleMania 30 was a good one. I liked 31. 31 is a really good one, but 30...
I feel that we are probably in for a good surprise this year.
I hope so. All right, so everybody, thank you for listening. I know it's a long show, but hopefully you enjoyed it. And until then, we'll see you next time. I'm Ryan.
I'm Holly.
And we suck at adulting.